Peace and blessings. I am Chi Vital, aka King Chi, and I'm back with another tool for your toolkits and how to create your lives. What up, family? Here we are today talking about how come your blessings are still blocked, and it's due to the food that you're eating. Some of y'all are used to this detoxing, and you may look at it as a way to get rid of parasites and people who might be sucking your energy dry. But let's really talk about your personal choices and how the food that you're eating, especially during this portal, are going to either bring in your blessings or cause you delays. So as you tune in, please fill up the chat with some hearts, some money bags, plenty of hearts. I want to see the purple hearts. I want to see yellow hearts. I want to see the sunshine, because we're talking about the summer solstice and some tips that are going to help you for every day of the year and every time you get to doing this work. Okay? All right? All right. Y'all with me? So I'm going to give everyone a moment to tune in. Thank you all for keeping your word. I see that. What up? Shouts out to Naga Epiphany. The Nagas, they be in the building. That's a squad. Those are the sharp shooters. So don't play around. What up, K Naga? Sharice is in the building. Every bit of Jackie. Chani's back. Moyo Nagashakti is here. Jacomi is here. What up? Katniss Zazar is back in the building. What up, Momi? Peace, Moonchild. I gotta make the rest of y'all some wrenches. What's up, Precious Gift? How y'all doing? What up, Shanti? All right, y'all. I want y'all to break that button, though. I want to see the hearts, sunshine, and the money bags. Oh, thank you. You know, the lighting at my powder station probably needs to be adjusted because I feel like I have more light under one eye than the other. And I did not bring anything to adjust that. So, you know, it is what it is. It's going to remain that way. Thank you. Yes, I had to represent my mother Yemoja today. Okay? You already know what it is. I got some you got some pearl, right? Coming from the ocean. Some more shells. You like? Some heirloom jewelry that has been passed down through the matriarchy of my family. Thank you. All right, so if y'all want to know what this is my little cheat sheet, because I'm going to go over, I don't want to just tell you all, for everyone who's watching, stop eating this or stop eating that, and simply, you're not eating well, and that's why you're having more blockages. That doesn't really give you anything tangible to work with. And so I just put together a really short list of some food items that are jacking you up and some food items that will help to clear that up for you. All right. And this is in conjunction with your summer solstice work. Of course, I had to add this piece because I was nudged to share this piece with you so that you can make the connection. All right. I'm going to keep it real with y'all, right? So I eat really well. And a lot of times I have these random conversations. Again, I'm in wellness. So these are not that random for my lifestyle, but for you, it might be. Okay. And then I just came across a very random Instagram reel or whatever. Instagram, reel. And it was Dochi's voiceover talking about she's going to fart. So I know like this topic and this topic is not really matching the whole ambiance, but it's a natural fact of our lives. And it just to me was a reminder of the inspiration that I received when I continue to hear people talk about how difficult it is for them to eliminate things from their systems, right? And then those same people, it just dawned on me that they tend to have some type of recurring blockage in their lives and they can't figure it out. And so that information combined with my understanding of what parts of our bodies help us to eliminate, all right, it just all like was like click, 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 share this message. I don't care if you've heard it before. I especially love if you're hearing this for the first time. Press 1 in the chat if you are aware of the connectivity between your colon, your large intestine, your ability to eliminate from your body, and the energetics and the frequency of being able to bring in and sustain more quickly your desired manifestations. Press 1 in the chat if you are aware of this correlation. Press 2 in the chat if you never made that direct connection, and today this information coming to you is right on time. Okay? All right. So I know that this talk with you all is going to help support you on your journey. Okay? In some way, some fashion. So here's the deal, right? In holistic medicine, specifically in Chinese medicine, all right, we look at the meridians, all right? We're working with acupuncture or acupressure points. Any form of Qigong is part of Chinese medicine, where you are activating and opening the channels for energy to flow. This large intestine meridian, which is lined through the body. I'll give you all some charts in the Discord to play around with, right? It's connected to your ability to let things go. Meanwhile, we're looking at the consumption of food. I'm going to talk to you about things that cause you inflammation, okay? Things that cause you inflammation. Things that cause you inflammation are the first things that are going to cause your body to attack itself. So while it's in this mode of attacking you, right, we have the histamines, right, are increased, things you're allergic to. They aren't necessarily like, it's not as linear as, oh, I'm allergic to these foods. They cause me inflammation, and so I stay away from those. There are foods in your life. There are shows in your life. There is music in your life. There are conversations in your life that cause inflammation in your body. So physically, you have these foods that you know are causing inflammation because you experience itching, you experience coughing, you experience sneezing, you experience bloating, you experience breaking out, you experience slow and long stays when it's time for you to have a bowel movement. All right? Now, here's the catch-in. There is music that causes inflammation in the body. There are particular sentiments in music that cause you to be irritated because whatever the message is does not resonate with your current value systems or the way that you want to live your lives. There is music, or not just the music, but sound, okay, conversations that exist that cause you to make decisions that are contrary to the frequency that you want to be in, causing you to have inflammation in your life. And this inflammation will show up as arguments. Okay? This inflammation will show up as short temper. This inflammation will show up as misaligned communication. So even when one person is saying something that is not offensive and the other person is saying something that's not offensive, for whatever reason, these words or these messages cannot align. They're misaligned, and so they cause friction. Okay? The same goes for your direct environment. So this is not just about food that you're eating, but overall, what are the things that you are putting on your plate that no longer bring you some kind of flow? You know that when you eat them, they cause you some type of stagnation, some pain in the body, or slow you down. Press 1 in the chat if you have ever experienced these two variables. 1, you're inspired, you get into this flow state, and there's particular people that when you talk to them or they're within your environment, you continue to be in that flow state and focused. Press 1 if you've experienced that. You're in the flow state, you're being creative, you're knocking off things on your things to do list, and there are people around that you can have conversations with, and you stay in that frequency, you stay consistent. Right? Nothing major. It's nothing major. It's not like when they speak to you, it seems to just fall in line with the frequency that you're in. Okay? How many of you have experienced the opposite of it, where you are genuinely in this flow state and a particular person speaks to you, not saying anything off the wall, but suddenly you start feeling like you're losing track of what you're doing? Press 1 in the chat if you've ever experienced that. You just start losing track. Like you was just going and this person came, they was like, yo, what up? What you doing? And you like, shit, what was I doing? Okay? So this kind of phenomena exists. And it's not that these particular people are like intentional. The first group is not intentionally trying to be in proper resonance with your flow state, and the other one is not necessarily trying to go against what it is that you're doing. But when you are in these, especially in these very heightened portal states, right, these spaces of direct change, like crossing over into a whole nother phase of energetics, it's brought more to the surface. It's going to bring to your attention, like, when I think about it, anytime I'm doing something productive, when I have a conversation with these particular friends, I don't get as much done. When I have conversations with these other people, I feel like I not only get more done, but I'm more inspired and I have more to offer. Okay? So that's just one variable. The other thing is, some of you, even if you're vegan, because a lot of times people figure like, oh, I'm vegan, so I shouldn't have any issue. There are vegans that I know not only there's the opposite, right? They might not be sitting and stuck on the bowl when it's time to eliminate, but they keep on going all the time. They just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. So anytime we have some kind of activity or energy moving too far into one direction, is not necessarily a good thing, right? Because we want to find that middle path and like slightly to whichever side that we prefer. And so anyone who's continuously like releasing, and that is your constant, there's something within your system that is still irritating. Because in order for that movement to occur, there has to be a movement. Now, technically, we know it as peristalsis. We need to have that. The villi and the intestines, which are these little finger-like things, they're sweeping things out. But what we don't recognize is that sometimes it's not that things are being swept out, is that these little fingers that once could like move little particles about and absorb the nutrients, they're so blocked up that they're like webbed fingers, right? They're like this. So imagine I go from having access to my fingers like this to only having access to this much. They're not really moving. So a lot of things are just passing through. Nothing's being absorbed. I want to compare that to those individuals who consistently stay really, really busy all the time. And it's as if they're on their bicycles and they were in that third gear. Where is it third gear? Third gear makes it a little harder. I think first gear. And they're like pedaling. They make the pedal easier because they're going up the mountain. But I always felt like that was kind of like backwards. So when I really used to be riding my bike through the streets and then I would hit the park and I have these inclines to go on, I would never put my bike on like the easiest joint because I wanted to have some kind of resistance in the gears so that I know that each time I put forth energy that I'm actually moving more with more correlation to the energy I'm putting out. Does that make sense? So if I'm like the kind of individual that stays busy, and it's not necessarily bringing me closer to my objective, to what I want to manifest, I also need to look at what's on my plate. And all of these things, they're always connected. Energetically, what we're doing physically is going to have an effect on our energy. And what's going on with us energetically is going to have a direct relationship to what's going on in the physical world. And so those things are related. So again, I'm reminding you from yesterday where I said sitting in meditation creates this expansion of your auric field to give you some protection so that your insights are genuine to your particular blueprint. Okay? So if you find that a lot of things are running away from you, even though you're working really hard, and then you also may notice that you've been detoxing, you're juicing, and then you just constantly running back and forth to the bathroom, that there is some type of distractive energy in what you're eating and what you're doing. Press 1 if that makes sense. Another aspect that's coming to me to share is that that running to the bathroom, where it can be a sign that there's so much buildup on the inner walls of that person's colon, or so much buildup of the inner subconscious mind of that person, because they refuse to face the resistance in their lives. Case in point, individuals who rather run away from some of the very rational decisions that need to be made in their lives, or simple logical conversations that need to be had, causing them to stuff things and not really face what needs to be eliminated or what needs to be adjusted. And so they're not receiving the nourishment from what it is that they are consuming in their lives. Okay? That makes sense? Yes, there's a lot of people who are constantly putting food in their mouths. There are also a lot of people who are averse to even being in silence. Okay? Observing silence with intention is very powerful, especially when done in conjunction with your fast or detoxing of anything. Silence. And silence doesn't just mean silence because you're not creating any noise. Silence means you're also not consuming any noise. You're not consuming any noise through your eyes. You're not consuming any noise through your ears. You're not consuming any noise by your environment. Okay? Tune in and check and see if, when you are having a moment of silence and you're like, okay, let me do something, you're like, let me put on some meditation music. Sometimes that in itself is a distraction. There's so much going on in your internal world and in your environment that you need to become aware of. You may not realize that the soundtrack of your background is causing you to have some kind of resistance or stagnancy in the frequency of your home. People literally call the noises outside noise pollution. Sirens, cars beeping their horns, trucks passing by, trains going back and forth, planes going over your head. All of that is pollution, because there's noise that's going on that you're not choosing to consume. It's just happening. And because you are immersed into it, your mind at some point is going to push it out, and you won't notice it. But then you put on top of that these frequencies that you want to listen to, trying to block that out to create this particular environment within your home. And instead, you need to remember, how can you adjust your internal world in the presence of what is? How can you find yourself? How can you create this space for yourself that is more grounded and secure, even in the midst of all of the noise? So sometimes it just doesn't serve you to just block it out. Okay? So here's the other thing. Like I said, there are things that are they're not necessarily you think bad for you. Back to the point of being vegetarian or vegan, all right? I want to remind you that there are breads that are very harmful to your gut. There are, for all the people eating soy, okay? This can cause a hormone, your hormones to be disrupted, and that causes a problem in your gut. For those of you who still are on the dairy, whether you've cut out the milk, and maybe the cheese, but you like to indulge in some ice cream. Now, this is not, again, this is not to say that one thing fits everybody, but you know how you respond when you eat these particular things. And the problem is that when you feel the mucus build up, when you feel like now you got the bubble gut, you got to ask yourself, at what point am I going to address my addiction to this discomfort in a way that I can be free of it and move on to leveling up on the things that I want to manifest? Your spell work begins with the quality of your temple. And before you can manifest a beautiful, clean, and magical altar temple, you want to take care of the temple that you have right here, because this is your main tool of manifestation, right? Another thing is, I was looking at this list and I was like, one of the items on the list actually, kind of hurt my feelings, because it's one of my favorite things, especially because when I get back into weight training, I want to up my protein, but I definitely don't want to overconsume meats, because the body can't really absorb that much protein and process it at the same time anyway, right? It's a bunch of BS to be like, let me just consume all this protein as if your body's going to absorb it, right? But one of those things are peanuts. Peanuts happen to be very popular as an allergen. And quite honestly, I want to say this. I think the reason why they're known to actually carry a lot of mold is not because originally that's the case, but it's because it's not coming directly from where it's grown right to your plates. The journey of the foods that get to your plate, the shorter the journey is the more clean it's going to be. The longer the journey is the more toxic it's going to be. You understand? Like, there's certain foods traditionally that have become a staple. They could not have become a staple if off the bat people were just getting sick from it automatically. Like, you got to use common sense for a lot of things. A lot of things that get marketed to you that are supposed to be healthier for you versus this is bad for you. You got to know what's behind that. It's the same with bread on the shelf. Like, when that bread goes out to be on sale, most likely it has already begun the process of molding. It's not visible to you yet, but as you're consuming it, it's in there. Because how many of you take the loaf of bread off of the shelf and then consume the whole damn loaf the same day that you get it? You don't. It then has another leg of life on the shelf after you've purchased it. So whatever was there to begin with now is really beginning to grow, and you're going to consume it. Furthermore, disrupting your gut. Make sense? For those of you who love to eat meat, I'm not against you eating meat. But understand that processed meats, like the favorites, the sausages, the bacons, all right, I don't eat pork, but I ain't here to judge you, because I mean, that's your journey, right? But those type of prepared meats, sandwich meat, those are the most processed. That, along with the preservatives, along with the sugars, those things feed the bad bacteria that are already in your gut, making it more difficult for you to properly digest and creating blockages that, again, you may experience in your coughing. Your body's letting you know something's not sitting right. And it's funny how, without proper understanding or access to information, you'll go, how is it that I'm coughing from something that I've eaten? And the lung and the large intestine, they run together. Okay, they run together as far as your meridians go. And so it makes sense. Ancient science, ancient medicine already knows what's up. So if you are coughing, it can very well be directly connected to what you're eating or what you're drinking. All right. Let me see. Y'all have any questions? Because I have a chart for you. I'm gonna read it. I told y'all I'm gonna just read it to you. Some of you might not have a printer for whatever reason or access immediately to a printer, and I want you to be able to write these down. But before I get to that, I am going to give you your final mantra on the YouTube channel for activating Radha. This particular mantra includes Shreem for your success and prosperity. All right. And this particular mantra, I want you to hit at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you take a look down in the description box, there's a lot of information there. The homework is there. A message from me is there, so don't miss it. And how to access me or anything else that I offer. If you have any questions, some people are like, how do I reach out to you? How do I get access to this, that, or the third? All that information is down in the description box below, along with a question for everyone who's going to comment on the video after the video is done. Okay? Because this whole discussion, this lecture with you all, is for you to take a sneak peek and then take a deeper look at what is on your plate that you need to remove, because it's causing you to be distracted. It's causing you to have blockages. It's causing you to have delays. What is on your plate? And every time you go to consume some type of food, start there. Look at what is on your plate and think to yourself, how is this going to contribute to the flow in my life? If it won't, I say let it go. Okay? Anything that's going to cause you to feel really inflamed or irritable, let that joint go. You know, especially when you're going to be very busy with spell work. It's one thing to have a sadhana, but when you are doing spell work, that's when you want to be very clear, because your gut health is connected to your brain and how it's working, because your gut is your second brain. Okay? And while your brain is your first brain, your heart is the highest brain. Okay. Let me see. I'm looking through here. To see if you all have any questions right now. Yeah, the nuts and cashews and all of that are perishable, and they're actually more prone to spoilage than other nuts because they contain a high amount of oil, which leads to spoilage. Right, because they are going to be rancid. Okay. Here we go. Seed oils. They cause inflammation in the gut. And some of you think that like consuming all these seeds like you're a bird is going to help you, but you have damage already to the colon, and those seeds, you don't chew them all the way. Some of y'all just put a whole bunch in your mouth, you just chew, swallow, and then those items end up not fully processed by your system. You may not have the necessary levels of acid in your gut that's for digestion, and they get lodged into the walls of your intestines. And we know some of those things that we eat, no matter how much we've chewed and they've gone through the acid in your stomach, they still coming out whole. Corn much? Questions. Let me see. For us meat eaters, should we get into hunting for our own meat? I absolutely, if you're into hunting, I absolutely believe that catching your food yourself, whether it's fishing or hunting larger animals, or even going to farms and getting live food killed on the spot and taken home, is way more healthier. First of all, energetically, you have an opportunity to offer this living being your gratitude for the exchange of their energy to be consumed by you, which is your own personal prayer. It does not have to be quote unquote halal or quote unquote kosher, due to whichever religion that has a prayer for that animal. Okay, it just needs to have your intention of what you're going to do with the animal, how you're going to use it. And then when you are hunting, for those of you who are really hunters, because some people, they get the concept, but when you're hunting and, for example, you get a deer, this is not you going to the supermarket. You now have enough meat for yourself and like 5 other families. So you can break that animal up into all of its parts, including using its skin to create a beautiful prayer mat for your altars, right? And you can feed people. You can feed other people. So you're not only blessing your family with food that is more fresh, but you also are blessing other families that is in a way that is going to return to you. Okay? And for those of you who are fishing, I hate fishing for sport. So for those of you who like to go fishing and throw the fish back in, I really don't get the point of that. It's like so dumb to me. Like if there were something that eats humans, could you imagine like it just wrapping you up and like cutting you across your throat or digging out your eye and then going, I caught one, and then putting you back, and now your life is just totally off kilter? Like, just eat me. Like, what kind of karma is that you're going to consume eventually? You know what I'm saying? Like, eat me already. Oh my goodness. For those of you who still like to eat the pig, I'm telling you from real life experience of living on a farm at one point of my life where I was studying large animals. Pigs stink. It does not matter how clean you keep them. They stink, y'all. They stink. So if they stink, and for those of you who worked with demons before, like nasty demons, I'm talking about demons that are like killer, chaotic demons. They smell like that. So if you're gonna eat that, I don't think it's a question of why that particular energy enters into your life. Okay? No, they don't sweat. They don't sweat. And so they really, really stink. But some people don't know that, because when you get to cooking particular portions of pork, it might catch you off guard. You'll be like, that smells amazing. Okay? Whole time, that's gross. Okay, my opinion, take it or leave it, doesn't make me a difference. All right, all right, everyone go down in the chat. You're going to see the mantra. Om Hrīṁ Śrīṁ Rādhikāyai Namaḥa. I just had to switch gears on y'all right quick. Y'all ready? It's down in the description box. You may not be able to see it right now, but it's in there. This is how you're going to chant it. Om Hrīṁ Śrīṁ Rādhikāyai Namaḥa. Om Hrīṁ Śrīṁ Rādhikāyai Namaḥa. Om Hrīṁ Śrīṁ Rādhikāyai Namaḥa. Now, this is the extended mantra for Radha, who is the embodiment of both Hrīṁ and Śrīṁ. Hrīṁ being the sacred bliss consciousness, and Śrīṁ, the energy of auspiciousness and prosperity. Okay? Hrīṁ, the energy of sacred bliss consciousness. Okay? And Śrīṁ, the energy of auspiciousness and prosperity. Now, we talked about the mantra that I gave you yesterday, which is the forceful bliss. Okay? This Hrīṁ shifts your energy, just as a reminder, to move into consuming the things that are going to align you with universal flow and support your desires in a more cohesive way. Okay? And this particular chant is going to reinforce the wealth and the prosperity that comes from being in that alignment. And so tonight at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, adjust for your time zone. That is when the sun is actually going to be in the summer, crossing the summer solstice. So at that time, I want you to reinforce the success of your wealth and your prosperity by doing that 108 times. So for your evening sadhana, you can do all the things, okay? And for those of you, and then end with that particular mantra, all right? And for those of you who are in Discord, I have something special for you, okay? Now, I know Baba got y'all tight already. Let me see some elephants in the chat if you are on your Lord Ganesha. Let me see some elephants in the chat if you went and copped you a brand new yellow dress or yellow shirt and pants made of Egyptian cotton, or at least 100% cotton, y'all. Or silk. Natural materials. And ain't nobody wearing wool right now, okay? It's hot over here. Okay? The colors. The color treatments are real. We in summer, y'all. Especially if you're looking to attract that sweetness, that soft, beautiful type of energy, playful energy, wear your pinks. I say wear your pinks, wear your gold, with your oranges, your yellows, okay? And that white just increases the light around you, okay? And don't take it for granted. Like, while you are getting in the sunlight and your skin is getting nice and roasted and that melanin starts popping, okay? Throw on these colors that are going to bring out the beauty of the melanin of your skin. It's a compliment. And it helps to keep everything else that's other than that energy like this out there. Plus, when you're dressed in these bright colors, you have to be more conscientious of how you carry yourself, where you sit. I'm not going to just sit anywhere when I'm wearing white. Neither are you. Okay? And if I'm wearing a beautiful pink or golden dress, same goes. Same for my guys. If you got some fly yellow shorts, you're not going to just go sit where you're going to get all stained up. And if you are, you're going to carry a change of clothes so you can stay dapper. Because that's the energy you want to be in. You want to be able to play, okay? Have a really good time, increase that energy, and then keep yourself fresh. And materials that breathe, natural materials that breathe, y'all, bring very high frequencies to hang out with you, okay? It's all connected. Those other synthetic materials actually don't allow the pores of your skin to breathe. We just mentioned how pigs don't sweat. Those pores, nothing's coming out but that stink smell. So if you're not wearing some natural materials, you are keeping all the toxins in your body. You need to be in things where you can just release. When you go to bathe, you're able to flush your pores out. When you're eating, stay hydrated so that your body can move whatever garbage out. That makes sense? Like, certain things are real cute. They made to look fantastic. But they just might not be for the highest frequencies in your lives. So if you are looking at materials, we've had this conversation before. Look for materials that are more natural than synthetic. All right, so I'm gonna read this chart for y'all. Y'all ready? For those of you who have your notebooks, let me see. Press 1 in the chat if you're ready for this list. This is a short list. It's just, I think, 10 and 10. But I wanted to make sure to give this to you because you might find something on this list that you didn't think about. So, all right. Foods that block the gut. Okay? Then I'm going to tell you why it's harmful. Fair? All right. So, dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt. They're a common allergen. They're mucus forming, and they disrupt your gut flora. That gut flora is the balance of good, bad bacteria that help to break down the foods. Okay? So we got dairy. Number 2, gluten. It's up there on the list, y'all. It's all the way up there on the list. Gluten, wheat, rye, and barley. They trigger inflammation, especially in sensitive individuals. Now, I'll tell you what. We've been eating grains since the beginning of time. All right? Your ancient grains are actually better, okay? Because they're whole grains. But the reason why these other grains have become so triggering and people are becoming sensitive to them is through overconsumption, shelf life, preservatives included, okay? And the other materials that make them up, they're not whole. They're not whole, they're refined. Okay? Bread for everything. Bread all the time. Bread is like Serious, no. Okay? Over time, it becomes to be too much. Okay? So if you find that you're sensitive, whether you're seeing that you have dry spots on your skin, you have a consistent cough, you have consistent either yeast or growth between your toes or any of your JJ, okay? Guys, they get it too. Little small like heat rash type of bumps. These are all some signs. Trouble breathing, sounding nasally on a regular basis, and you can't blow anything out. That's inflammation as well. Okay? Next, soy. Processed soy products. Processed soy products. So all of the I'm a vegan, but everything I eat tastes like meat. Give me a break. I'm a vegan, but everything I eat tastes like meat. Those foods are hormone disruptive, and they are now causing a lot of people to show up as them being allergic to them. Okay, those foods actually are combined with non-vegan products as well, which is interesting because they used eggs to keep the materials together. I'm telling y'all, you got to pay attention to what you're putting into your body. Next, refined sugars. Refined sugars. These are just foods for those nasty bacteria, and they cause inflammation. So if you're worried about sugar consumption, especially refined sugar consumption, cut back on your juice. Cut back on adding sugar to anything. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay? Seed oils, canola, corn, soybean. They're highly processed and they cause inflammation to the gut lining. Okay? Cause inflammation to the gut lining. And the lining of anything, just for your notes, the lining of anything, the lining of your cells, the lining of your guts, the lining of the inside of your mouth, this lining of skin on the outside of your body. The lining is where all the gateways exist. The lining is where all your soldiers are that are going to say whether, yes, this is good for me, let me consume it. No, this is not good for me, let me destroy it. Or no, this is not going to work, let me block it. So if you're damaging the lining in any way, you are damaging your first line of defense. You're also damaging your first line of offense where they want to take in the good things. Okay? When your skin is damaged, you no longer can process the vitamin D that's coming through the sun without further damage or hurting yourself. When the skin is damaged, things that may have been good for you in the past now cause you to have burns or scarring on your skin. You see what I'm saying? Would that be the fascia? No. Fascia is so you can see it outside of yourselves. Like if you were cleaning chicken, you pull the skin off first. Okay, remember the skin is the lining. The fascia just acts as like a bra. It supports the things because you have muscles, all right, and we have layers of muscles. If once they're placed the way they naturally grow, that fascia keeps everything in place. Notice that when you're cleaning the chicken, if you don't remove that very thin, is it luminescent? Okay, layer off of the chicken, you can take the chicken off, but the muscle of the chicken that you're going to eat stays the same. Once you slit that layer, now the muscle is kind of hanging. All right. So that's what fascia is. All right. So next, eggs, especially the egg whites. So for those of you watching your cholesterol, you're like, oh, I'm going to eat egg whites instead. See, the eggs, short story, eggs cause so much kind of inflammation. For those of you who are experiencing really painful acne, You really feel like I'm not eating anything crazy. You might be eating the egg whites for your protein. You're working out and all of that. And you're getting these sores of acne. Eggs, cut them out all the way, period. Get your protein another kind of way. It's a common allergen, and they trigger leaky gut in sensitive people. Okay? Leaky gut. Next, peanuts. I already went over that with y'all. Okay? So be mindful of how much peanuts you are actually eating. Okay? And where are you getting them from? How long have they been on the shelf? You know that big old bag of peanuts where you can crack them out the shell? You know that bag stays on the shelf way too long. Don't nobody finish that bag in one sitting. Like, and I don't even think they have an expiration date on it. You just need to be conscientious of the fact that it's sitting on the shelf. The temperature in your house might be fluctuating. There's gonna be mold growing. Okay? Put a time limit on that. Shellfish. It's a common allergen and it can cause histamine reactions. So I think most people already know that some people are allergic to shellfish. True story. You may not be immediately allergic to shellfish. But if you overdo it, much like the wheat, if you overdo it, it can unlock that reaction in your allergic reactions. It might start with a uh-oh. Can y'all hear me? Press 1 in the chat if y'all can still see me and hear me clearly. I'll make sure that we're still good. And just a reminder, if you ever are watching me on this channel and it starts getting all glitchy, please let me know in the chat. I do not want to be talking through, this pixelated thing. Have I been blurry the whole time? Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. We've been through this before, family. Okay? All right. So shellfish causes that histamine reaction. And I said sometimes you overload your system over time. You've done too much. Your body has not had an opportunity to clear that out. Because granted, we're pretty magical machinery. We can put a lot of things in our system and not die immediately. It doesn't mean that the body is not struggling to clear it out or that over time it hasn't had enough time to clear it out. Okay? So just be mindful of that. Artificial sweeteners. My least favorite. I hate the taste of artificial sweeteners. Stevia included, even though it's a plant sweetener. Sucralose, aspartame. I don't care if it's xylitol and all that. I don't know how you will even enjoy that. However, it disrupts the gut microbiome. Okay? Monk fruit is the new thing on the scene. Keto, what do I say about monk fruit? For those of you who are supposed to be going sugar-free, okay, especially when you're detoxing, I'm gonna put monk fruit on the list. However, I still think monk fruit tastes like the rest of those fake sugars, to be honest. But for those of you who dig the monk fruit, and that's your thing, please look at how you feel afterwards. Don't overdo it. I'd much prefer you get your sugar, monk fruit. They say it's natural, right? I prefer you go get the monk fruit and make yourself monk fruit juice and add it to what you're trying to add it to, so that you really know that it's real. That's my thing. Anytime they start mass producing any type of supplement for something, you probably are better off getting it yourself and adding it to your foods yourself, Because if it's so readily available and now they start mass producing it, they're probably processing it in such a way that's ultimately not the greatest for you anyway. That's just how I'm looking at it. You feel me? Okay. Last, processed foods. I already talked about that. You got your preservatives and nitrates. They harm the gut health. Okay, they're harmful. Okay. Yeah, I rock with agave. I do. And still, I personally am not a person that adds sweetener to my stuff regularly. Like, I rarely do. I drink my coffee black, for the most part. Um when I'm home, I don't add any kind of agave to my tea. My smoothies, I use a banana or some molasses to sweeten it. So what's good for you, that's good for you. I'm just giving you the information. I'm not here to be a food Nazi. Okay. Next, gut healing foods, because this is going to be helpful. Okay. I already told y'all I'm going to tell y'all some things that don't really work for you and the other things that do work for you, so you can pick and choose how you want to adjust things on your plate. Avocados. Now that they've just taken over the avocado game, unfortunately, there's so many unripened avocados on the shelves, y'all. But avocados, for those of you who have access to good ones, they're rich in fiber, they have healthy fats, they support your skin elasticity. Might I add, I decided to put together a list of 10 foods that are also good for your skin to glow. Because we're talking about tapping into the sun. So I figured, why just give you things that are good for your gut, but they don't give you that external glow? So it's a double gift. Okay. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes, y'all. You want to have that rosy color underneath your skin that gives you that golden glow. Sweet potatoes, because the beta carotene is great for your skin and for the gut lining. Okay. For some of y'all, you have a lot of disruption when you're trying to go to bed. One remedy that I find to be really great is a baked sweet potato, nothing added, like an hour before I'm going to go to bed, because it satisfies any lingering hunger and it also helps to go to bed. Okay. Next. What up, T? All right. T said, if y'all are interested, the Naga family, if y'all interested in an overseas meditation operation, make sure you text her, call college. All right, y'all. Somebody could put the number in the chat. Let's get through the rest of these foods that are good. Thank you. Thank you, Kira. Get through these foods that are good for your skin and for your gut. So, fermented foods, your sauerkraut, your kimchi, and your kefir, they're loaded with probiotics. We talked about good bacteria for your gut health. Okay? These are definitely helpful. Next, your leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula. They're high in antioxidants and they're good for cleansing your gut. All right. Your berries, your raspberries, your blueberries. Also be mindful of cleaning them properly. Okay? Picking out the ones that got the mold. If they're a little too ripened, just put them out. Okay? They're rich in polyphenols, okay, and skin protective antioxidants. So if you're looking at wanting to eat foods that help your skin from breaking, like wrinkles or scarring, you want to have these type of fruit in your diet. Yes. Next, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. You got coconut oil. Coconut oil is anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial. Not only is the coconut oil good for your consumption, but you can also add this to your private parts as a part of your keeping yourself clean and to your skin. because whatever type of bacteria might be on your skin, like it's already naturally protective. I'm not sure if you all knew that. Okay? Chia seeds. They're excellent fiber and they help for proper hydration and clearing of your bowels. Cucumber. They are hydrating. Okay? They're alkaline and they promote clear skin because they're cooling. They're a cooling type of food. Okay? It's sattvic. It's very clean. Is it a good thing to clean them with baking soda? Yes. Yes. It is very good to use baking soda to clean like your fruits and vegetables that have a skin on them, because the baking soda helps to pull out any type of like toxins that are on there safely for your consumption, as opposed to some of the more commercial things where you're using some kind of soap, which will leave a residue that you're going to consume anyway. Baking soda is way better. Okay. Bone broth. Bone broth. It heals the gut lining. It supports the collagen production for your skin. Collagen is what has you looking like how people go and get their Botox, that collagen. The elasticity, the fluffiness of your skin is full. It looks youthful. Okay, it's perky. Bone broth. And lastly, turmeric. Okay, turmeric. It's anti-inflammatory. It soothes the gut and it clears the skin for clarity. And y'all know that not only adding it to your food is great, but you can also add turmeric to any kind of like scrub for your skin, and that helps. What type of bones? Which animals is best? Bones, like cow bone, all right? Bone broth, like that. Bone broth in the sense of treating like from Chinese medicine is gonna use like from the bones of like a cow or let's see, like lamb. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. So we good. You know, we got chicken broth too. Chicken broth. Chicken broth. So there's a lot of information for you. I will figure a way to share a printable link or photo of this so that you can add it to your notebooks or just replay this video. Somebody can timestamp for where I start going over the list of things that are good and not so good for your gut health. Okay. And that's that. Peace, love, and bliss. Enjoy the rest of your summer solstice and tap in this next 3 days. Go hard, y'all. Go hard and hit them high numbers. Do all of your sadhana. Tune in. Go into some silence so that you can really be clear about what you need to remove from your plate and what you want to continue or add to your plate to make it a more beautiful experience. Peace.